everyone. My name is Bernadette Smith, and you are?
And I am Rita Mays, and I work with Bernadette. I'm the business manager at Equality Institute. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday. It is wonderful to see you all here today. Feel free at any point, by the way, throughout our conversation, which is 5 things in 15 minutes, to type in the chat to ask us a question, and we will make sure we cover that for you. Okay, so welcome to 5 Things in 15 Minutes. 5 Things in 15 Minutes is our weekly recap of the 5 Things newsletter. The 5 Things newsletter goes out every Saturday morning, and it's designed to bring good vibes, good energy related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So every week, I look for stories that inspire me, stories that I find of companies and organizations doing really cool stuff, progressive stuff in the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I find those stories and I share them with you. If you don't already get the 5 Things newsletter, you can subscribe at theequalityinstitute.com/join. And then on Monday, I meet with Rita or someone else from my team or someone else from the world, and we talk about the newsletter and we just recap these 5 things in 15 minutes. And yeah, like I said before, please feel free to comment, to ask a question, and we are here to answer. All right, you ready, Rita?
I'm ready.
Okay, the first thing I learned last week is about a new initiative and a new commitment by Amazon Studios about inclusion. So they have committed, so Amazon Studios is a production company where all of the TV and films that are on Amazon Prime are made. Okay, so they are committing to include 1 speaking character with a disability, 1 from the LGBTQ plus community, and at least 3 characters from other underrepresented groups in each production. So that's really cool in terms of representation. But beyond that, they're actively, really proactively seeking content from creators from this group to make sure that those representations are accurate and authentic. And it also is a way to increase the equity of these creators so they can generate more wealth as well. So I personally love this story because it is a truly inclusive 360 approach. It's not just about HR. It's not just about leadership, but it's also about marketing. It's about representation. So I love this. What do you think?
Well, I was really happy with it. To me, it took it to a new level because I'm one of those people who streams Amazon. And one of the things that I noticed was that they have such a large selection of indie films that are by everyone, minorities, various groups, races, what have you. And I've just been excited because I'm seeing movies that really, really capture our life.
Absolutely.
So this is just a new step.
Exactly. It's it's an actual commitment as opposed to just sort of whatever happened by accident before.
Right.
This is an actual commitment. So I think we're going to start to see even more of it, in front of the camera and behind the camera.
Right. I was happy with in front of the camera, but this just really tops it off.
Yeah. And Netflix has certainly done a really great job as well in this. So it's not completely new. And, Shonda Rhimes just got another huge deal, so there's a lot of really great stuff happening. But what I really love is that there's a specific commitment. There's an equity piece built in. They're increasing supplier diversity. And so it's not just one component of inclusion. It's really a much broader approach. And I think that's what a lot of organizations are missing is that the broader approach to inclusion, not just the focus on HR. So I love this.
Me too. So what?
All right. What's next? All right. Next is Levi's, the jeans company, the clothing company, is one of many companies that are starting to reskill workers. So what they found out during the pandemic is that the online ordering was going to be definitely a huge part of their business going forward, more than ever before, which I think a lot of companies found out. And what they really did was they created a reskilling program to retrain their existing employees, many of whom who do work on the front line, in skills like data science. So they could start to continue, so they can stay with the company as the company continues to grow, and especially as it grows in a different direction. These folks are having new opportunities and probably making more money going forward.
This one was really close to my heart because if you look at just how our working environment is, you have the frontline workers and they are just right there. And most companies do not even consider grooming them, training them for other positions within the organization. So this has always been a subject dear to my heart. And I was just so happy to read this one and be a part of it. It was great to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it is great, and I think that part of it is helping folks certainly create more wealth, but have jobs that are going to be more transferable to other industries where there's more room for advancement.
Right.
There's a lot that's going here, and I think it's also about helping people move from being, blue collar to being white collar. And that's a part of it as well. And again, this is all about creating family wealth.
And it really is a boon for the company, because then they're a place that you want to work. Because I've always, one of the guidelines for me choosing a company to work for was, did they offer education? Did they offer training? Because these are the things that help you grow. And if you're growing, if you can stay in one spot and grow, that is perfect for some people. You're not going to lose everyone. Right now, frontline workers usually have to leave and go somewhere else. So this is awesome.
Yeah, and I do think it's going to disproportionately positively affect people of color, BIPOC, because I think they are more likely to be working at the front line. So great news from Levi's. Okay, next up, Warby Parker. Warby Parker is the direct-to-consumer eyeglass company, and they committed $440,000 to start to the New England College of Optometry to specifically fund scholarships for Black students. Now, only 3% of optometrists or optometry students in the U.S. are Black, and so this scholarship is aiming to increase those numbers over time. Right.
I thought that this was absolutely on target. It is an industry that, as Black people, we really are underrepresented. And this is like a motivational factor. It's amazing that how often you don't see Blacks in roles as ophthalmologists, optometrists, and this is just a wonderful, wonderful move to help more diversity, more inclusion.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's, there's got to be like a bigger ripple effect, right? I don't know.
Absolutely.
I'm just guessing here, but is there something where Black people are less likely to go get eye exams because no one looks like them, and so then there's a disproportionate number of, I don't know, people. Yeah. Is there anything like that, do you think?
I think somewhat, yes. I think somewhat, but I really kind of see it as being one of those situations where you're in a position that we have there's a lot of diabetes. You have to be conscious of that when you're looking in for eye care. And I think that this is just a great move. It'll bring so many more students into an industry that just really doesn't have very much representation.
Yeah, and I think this sort of goes to the pipeline issue that a lot of companies complain about, really related to a lack of diversity. Well, we can't find diverse talent. Well, Warby Parker is actually investing in training underrepresented talent at the very beginning, right?
Right.
Removing the excuses that show up later of, oh, we can't find X. Well, sometimes you have to start earlier in order to create those structures to make it possible, or to make those structures more equitable.
Right. Like nursing, the medical profession, the education profession, you always hear about various scholarships to reach out to under underserved areas and people. And this is the first time I've heard anything about optometry, eye care.
Yeah.
Eye care at all. Just never heard about it.
It's amazing what we don't even like, what I don't even think about. Like, I don't even
Hmm.
think about this kind of stuff. But there's gaps everywhere. Huge,
Yes,
huge gaps. So I'm really glad to see
absolutely.
that Warby Parker is solving for that in some way. Okay, next up is a couple of things about trans and non-binary inclusion. So Disney World has recently changed the way they start their programming. I was just at Disney World with my family 3 weeks ago. And the programming, when the events start, you hear, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I mean, I heard that 3 weeks ago, but now it's actually being changed. I'm not sure if it's in effect already, but it's changing to dreamers of all ages as a way to greet folks. And I think it's really cool. I personally identify as a dreamer, and I think that it's a super inclusive way to greet folks. I would love to see other industries, other organizations sort of taking this for conferences, MCs, DJs. Like, everyone should sort of adopt a more inclusive greeting, in my opinion.
I like it. I just like dreamers.
Yeah,
And the fact that I mean, for me, Disney is a dream, you
yeah,
know? So you go there and you fantasize and you can have all your dreams come true.
yeah,
It inspires you to make your dreams come true. So
absolutely.
I really like that they took that step. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. And honestly, when I was at Disney, there were a lot of LGBTQ folks. Like, I saw a
Really?
lot, and I saw quite a number of folks who had, transgender pride logos, and I saw someone with transgender socks, and so I think that, like, transgender symbols on their socks, and I just think that we're showing up, and we don't want to feel excluded, and so this stuff really matters. Okay, next and last story for this week is that the US State Department is in the process of figuring out how to offer a third gender option on US passports. So the US would join countries like India and Canada, New Zealand, other countries that have a third gender option. And also, a bunch of states have third gender options on their state IDs, as we've talked about on the show before. But on the federal level, this is a first. Pretty
Well,
big.
I find that so interesting and so important because if the state government is going to acknowledge that there is a third gender, then it should automatically just start rolling down the hill that everyone should get on board. So I feel like with the government acknowledging it, and especially for passports that identify who you are, it's the best thing that could have happened. This is such a wonderful step in the right direction.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that, because a lot of states have changed their policy to allow for a third gender option, and the airlines have followed suit, many airlines now offer that as well. It only makes sense that the federal government was going to eventually come on board, but it's happening sooner than I ever would have expected. So
I didn't
that's
expect it.
that's really fantastic as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I thought we had maybe a couple of years to go.
At
Yeah,
least, yeah. At
but
least.
this is such great news. You know, it makes you think, and it's a visible part of just how we are changing and opening up and accepting and just moving forward, just moving
Yeah.
forward. And I feel like this is a major catalyst because it's just going to open up the door. Once the government starts, it's part of it.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a huge ripple effect. Thank you for joining me for 5 things in 15 minutes, Rita. Thank you all for joining me. And let me just tell you really quick why this stuff matters, by the way. I should have said this before. Oh no, did we lose you, Rita? Oh no. Well, I'm going to tell you why it matters, even if Rita's not here to share in it. These things matter because what I believe is that a lot of folks are very intimidated by diversity and they don't know where to begin. And the conversation can get overwhelming. And within organizations, especially when there are so many decision makers, it's sometimes really hard to know where to start. But there's lots of really inspiring stuff happening, and you just got to start somewhere. So I share these ideas because I want to show that there is a path forward. It might be easier than you think. And there's a lot of great organizations doing fantastic things that you can adapt and bring back to your own company. So thank you for watching. If you don't already get the newsletter, you can subscribe at theequalityinstitute.com/join.